Hi, everyone. I should start with an apology. I lied to you. I have absolutely no idea what's on your screens. I'm not Microsoft after all, but I have seen enough dashboards in market research to risk this headline. So the problem is not the dashboard itself. The problem is that many research dashboards sit on top of the systems that were never designed for survey data. Some of you may have dashboards that look impressive, but requires 3 analysts, 2 developers, and 1 heroic Excel input to keep alive. In market research, we often assume that dashboards equal insight delivery, but in many organizations, dashboards are actually where automation goes die. Ask yourself, how comfortable are you with requesting a change to your reporting pipeline? How long did it take last time to implement the amendment? Not the same day, I assume. Here's a recent example. Gmail is the UK industry body that runs independent currency research for mail media. This is a real email exchange with them. The dashboard change took less than 1 hour since the initial request, and most of that hour was probably spent by our manager getting to the email. That kind of speed completely changes how people work with data. It changes what you feel comfortable asking for. It changes what you can expect from reporting. At this pace, dashboards start helping with insights rather than obstructing the decision-making agility. Which brings me to today's topic. This conversation is not really about dashboards. It's about the delivery framework underneath them. Let us look at the workflow we're dealing with. Survey data arrives, someone cleans it, someone exports tables, someone builds a narrative, someone else builds the deck. Can you imagine a system that covers the entire workflow, providing every user with a convenient interface tailored for their job? I mean, not forcing a researcher to use the tool because of the external requirements, but because it is faster for a researcher to get things done with the tool rather than to prompt their DP. And don't forget about internal users of the client on the client side, because their usage defines the ultimate value of the research. Then after the results are delivered, the client asks a new questions about the same data. They need a new crosstab or test another hypothesis. And suddenly we walk backwards through this entire chain again, asking the data team to fetch SPSS data from the archive and run a couple of crosstabs so we can email back to the client, circumventing a presumably automated pipeline. I've seen cases when such a cycle could take 2 months, not because of lack of expertise. Both the researcher and the client are highly professional global organizations. It's just that complicated. So the bottleneck in research delivery is rarely insight. The bottleneck is moving numbers between tools. And every time a new tool is added to fix the previous one, the tooling zoo grows. Eventually, the ecosystems become so complex that no one really owns the entire chain anymore. Business intelligence works beautifully when it connects directly to operational data such as sales, pipelines, CRM systems, finance reporting. Business data is simple. Predefined and stable data structure. Calculations are just simple aggregates and arithmetics. No need for statistics beyond basic metrics. Survey data is the opposite. Different surveys, different everything. The questionnaire evolves with waves, brands appear and disappear. You need the entire statistical apparatus, tens of metrics, significant tests, weighting, and advanced methods. To say nothing about domain specifics such as text processing, routing, rolling, and so on. So when someone says a BI dashboard is the intelligence layer, there is one simple question. Where did all the research logic happen? What software is on the researcher's display when they create a story? Excel? We are all suffered from those infinite Excel top lines when it takes 2 minutes just to navigate to the figure. So if you are feeding BI with clean, display-ready KPI tables, the hard work is already done. At this point, the business intelligence layer is not doing anything particularly intelligent. It's just doing visualizations, essentially more interactive PowerPoint. Many automation projects quietly fail for a very simple reason: change management. Every change requires a specification, a new KPI, new market, new brand, and so on. And every change is a development micro project. Implementation always falls behind the data evolution and business demand. It's not automation, it's relocation. You just moved it into a more expensive room. Before even starting with BI dashboard, you need to know everything about your data. You run the analysis, you derive the insights, and negotiate every bit of the visualization and the UX. It's a bit like building a house starting from the facade. It requires a lot of effort and a little bit of gravity-defying magic. Yet, this is exactly how many reporting systems are designed. There is one more fundamental requirement that is often ignored: performance. I've seen nice solutions hit wall as the tracker accumulates data. Ideally, the user experience should feel the same whenever you analyze a few hundred respondents, a 10 million interviews multinational tracker, or a syndicated data set with 100,000 variables. It should survive under thousands of users. In practice, very few systems can do that. When performance holds at that scale, it stops being just a technical detail. It changes what kind of studies you can run and how the data is actually used in your organization. This level of performance is still quite rare in research platform, and it is something that DataTile can consistently provide. Now let's talk about AI. Every conference nowadays promises that AI will reinvent analytics, reporting, and insights generation, which is mostly true. My argument is about how to approach decisions, implement or choose systems to avoid expensive trial and error cycles. Companies are investing heavily in AI, but when you look at the actual results, the picture is more modest. According to the recent PwC survey, only a small minority of CEOs report both revenue growth and cost reduction from AI. I'm among those, by the way. More than half report no significant financial impact yet. And it's not enthusiasm for AI that separates the companies pulling ahead. It is a stronger foundations underneath AI. And that is exactly why the system design matters. Let me add one more reality check about AI. A recent study comparing AI agents and human workflow found something interesting. AI systems were dramatically faster and cheaper than humans, of course. But the quality was lower and mistakes appeared regularly, sometimes fabricating results or misusing tools. The most interesting finding was this: process becomes faster when AI assists a human and slower when AI is put to automate the entire workflow. That distinction is extremely important for research. And to be clear, I'm an AI enthusiast. When AI is applied in the right place, it can dramatically improve speed, usability, and discovery. The problem is not AI itself. The problem is misaligned expectations when we ask AI to replace the deterministic part of the workflow rather than augment them. There is also a deeper issue: interpretability. Machine learning systems are famous for finding shortcuts that work in a lab but fail in the real world. Researchers call it learning shortcuts. AI looks right until it's catastrophically wrong. If you do not understand why a model is correct, you won't know when it is about to fail. This is why in research we keep deterministic core for the numbers, and AI should assist the workflow, but not substitute. So what does the system look like when it is designed correctly? The pattern is surprisingly simple. At the center, there is a deterministic core. This is where the heavy lifting happens: data loading, manipulations, calculations, and most importantly, the chain of custody of every number, which means whenever you see a number on the screen, you should be able to trace it all the way back to the raw respondent level data. On top of it, of course, dashboards, PowerPoint generation, APIs, and this is where AI becomes extremely useful. AI for semantic integration, text processing, summaries, AI as a co-pilot for exploration. AI makes the system faster and easier to use, but the numbers themselves still come from the deterministic research core. Before buying or building any automation system, ask for blunt questions. Transparency. Can every number be reproduced from the raw data using a clear calculation chain? Volatility. If the questionnaire, brands, or KPIs change from wave to wave, can the system consistently adapt without human interference? Cost of error. If the system produces an error, does someone notice immediately, or does it travel into a client's deliverables? As a side note, about 10% of new DataTile clients initially report errors when validating figures against their existing report or legacy systems. The opposite turns out to be true. DataTile is correct, and discrepancy reveals how difficult it is to fully bulletproof every number across the long and complicated reporting chain. Fourth, is your audience occasional users who will forget the system before they return to it, or professionals working regularly with the system who need to fetch insights as fast as possible? AI offers a low entry barrier to everyone, but might become a frustrating mediator for heavy users. I will illustrate it with a simple example that most of you experienced. Remember website contact forms. Browser prefills so automatically and you submit it with one click. And now you click on a chatbot icon and it asks you, what is your name? Followed by 2-minute conversations. It looks cool, but ruins the process. These conceptual rules of thumbs determine whether your reporting is future-proof and will meet the expectations of your audience. So, dashboard is a buzzword. That could mean anything. I'll start my demonstration with our definition of dashboards. DataTile dashboards can be anything. Unrestricted layout, usability. So I'm switching to a live presentation. It could be one pager, like here, executive summary, a brand knowledge portal, a typical research study, a template, or a knowledge-based portal about your brand or audience. And so it could be brand tracker encompassing data across different markets, and it could integrate data from different sources. And by the way, dashboard, by the way, PowerPoint generation is a native feature of our dashboard. So, and generated PowerPoints, let me show it to you. It's a live PowerPoint charts, native charts and tables inside PowerPoint, not just a picture on the screens. So, this dashboard, this particular dashboard, this one is production dashboard built and published by our client, Global Media and Entertainment. This one is enormous. It sits on top of 40 databases, trackers, and ad hocs, and contains something about 500 pages. All examples here are different and tailored to their audience. And by the way, no developers were harmed in the process of making these dashboards. No single line of code was written. These examples are available on our website gallery. Feel free to play around. And I will use remaining time to give you a glimpse of how this magic works. I will briefly demonstrate to you a major case, loading a SPSS file, analysis, and creating dashboard in DataTile. So in general, DataTile is like a research repository. It's a Google Drive for researchers. Same way you upload, organize your data, you share it with colleagues, with clients, The difference is that we have much more granular and sophisticated access management systems, data management, and so governance guidelines. Data loading is simple. So here's I have a SPSS file. I just drag and drop, and it loads. So 84,000 interviews, SPSS files, and so everything what was in the file here is on the left, and you can already so immediately start cross-tabbing it. So yeah, this is my cross-tab, my brands, top of mind by each category. I can put significance on, switch to chart, build the chart, and so on. So I can ask AI, so to involve AI to organize my data and make it look nice and organized better, because if there is a bigger database, for example, this is the same data, but already organized, if it's like we have studies of more than 100,000 variables, and without a good hierarchy and catalog code book for the data, it's very hard to navigate. So, and this is analytical interface. It's much more convenient than SPSS. You can literally build whatever you want here. You can just drag and drop and organize logically, build any audience here right away as a user intuitively. So here we go. And so I can build and name my new target audience. I can save my new codes and immediately see them on charts and everywhere across the system. And so the next thing, so I can download, of course, I can download it in PowerPoint, Excel, whatever I need. So I can run and generate top lines in one click. But the next thing, dashboards. It's all about dashboards. So I will build a new one from scratch. So so let me build this chart. So let's assume this is the chart, and I will export this chart to the dashboard. So I will create a new one, new dashboard, and the new dashboards appears here, right here, in the same folder. And yeah, here we go. This is the single chart. I've just exported, empty white page, and I switch to edit mode. And this is a free placement canvas. I can do anything I want. I can bring it, change chart types. I can bring charts from different data sources. It's just for demonstration. I'm cloning it. You can bring and integrate data from tracker, from ad hoc, from benchmark database, and configure look and feel, colors. So everything is configurable. And just for demonstration purposes, I will, I don't know, change it to another chart type. And so one pager. So the next thing, I will add some filters. Let's say gender filter. So I'm clicking the button, bringing in again, I'm assembling the content of my control. So here it is. It could be of different types. I want it to be a drop down, save it, place it, and yeah, I will assign it. I need to tell the system explicitly what I want from these buttons. I want them to be filter here, filter there. And now when I click, everything is recalculated live. So this database, this particular database contains 84,000 interviews, and you won't notice any latency or so inconvenience in calculating it here. So I will add another filter. I will add this time, I will add age categories. And again, buttons, and I make it multiple select, meaning that many buttons could be on at the same time. So move it, place it, assign again as a filter, and now they are working all together. So switching the brand, same way I can switch the brand. So we are now looking at top of mind, and I will bring top of mind here, and also drop down, and this time it will be again multiple select, and I will select pre-select, let's say 5 brands, save it, And this time as I'm assigning it not as a filter, but I will put it on rows of the cross tab, which sits behind the chart. So, and now I'm clicking, I'm switching, and everything again recalculated on the fly. And I can substitute any dimensions. I can create as many pages as I want. And it's already about 1,000 of combinations here, or maybe even more, so more than 10,000 combinations. And imagine if you need to generate a top line for all of them, for different KPIs, different filters, different slices, is just a whole day of work, or so to check all the figures. And here you don't need to do nothing. The representation sits directly on top of the chart. There is no discrepancy or distance, any gap between data and the representations. And whatever state I have, I will always can click and pencil and go back to the database and see where every row, every column, every filter comes from. I can show and see, I can open the window and see what is actually inside, from which variable, and so on. And if I update data, append a new wave through API or just manually, so everything will update automatically. If there are new brands appear, everything will be updated, of course, according to the configuration you set here on the dashboard. So this is just one page, and I can go here and say that I need menu and start adding the pages. And so I can have as many pages as I want. If there are too many, I can create hierarchies. Hierarchy appears. It appears everywhere. And so everything, as I said, everything is configurable. And this is how many of these dashboards I've shown you before have been built. It could be built through API, automatically, with AI, without AI. You can ask AI to help you with it, and then amend it manually. So yeah, so and in this every dashboard, I can click and go and see what is inside. So because remember that the problem which I suffered from when I've been working in a research company is like, okay, we are looking at the reporting, the figure on the screen. Doesn't matter where it comes from. Let it be PowerPoint, and there is no single person in the company who can tell you how it is calculated, because it was generated by NDP. Somebody wrote this SPSS script, then it was, so the Excel files were sent to a researcher, they proofread, copy paste it, and so on. Business intelligence and automation usually adds more complicated and expensive steps to it. So that's the main idea and the core of DataTile. Of course, we are so intensively working on adding and engaging with the AI here. So developing capabilities for text processing, automated coding, so semantic analysis, so sentiment analysis, and so on. And of course, everything is about so automation. And getting back to the presentation, yeah. So 3 takeaways. So first, the wrong system becomes permanent maintenance. Second, AI without a foundation only accelerates confusion. Third, the working pattern is a deterministic research core with AI around it. This is how you automate insights delivery without losing your trust. And I think, so just for leaving some questions, so time for the questions, I will stop here. So any questions are welcome. If you have functional questions or on any other, I can demonstrate or I can answer or share my experience. Thank you.